Inside the containers of nations are unusual legal spaces, anomalous territories, and peculiar jurisdictions. There are city-states, havens, enclaves, free ports, high-tech parks, duty-free districts, and innovation hubs. The world of nations is riddled with zones, and they define the politics of the present in ways we are only starting to understand. What is a zone? At its most basic, it is an enclave carved out of a nation and freed from ordinary forms of regulation. The usual powers of taxation are often suspended within its borders, letting investors effectively dictate their own rules. The zones are quasi-extraterritorial, both of the host state and distinct from it. Zones come in a bewildering range of varieties, at least 82 by one official reckoning. Among the more prominent are the Special Economic Zone, the Export Processing Zone, and the Foreign Trade Zone. At one end of the socioeconomic spectrum, zones can be nodes in the networks of cross-border manufacturing. Often ringed by barbed wire, these are sites for low-wage production. At the other end, we can see a version of the zone in the tax havens where transnational corporations secrete away their earnings, what the economist Gabriel Zeckman calls the hidden wealth of nations. The flight of corporate profits to these low or zero-tax jurisdictions costs the United States alone $70 billion a year in tax revenue, while offshore tax shelters hold an estimated $8.7 trillion of the world's wealth. Some Caribbean islands count more registered companies than residents. In his first run for office, candidate Barack Obama singled out Ugland House in the Cayman Islands, which contained 12,000 corporations. "That's either the biggest building or the biggest tax scam on record," he said. In fact, it was totally legal, a workaday fact of the global financial system. There are over 5,400 zones in the world, far more regimes than in Thiel's fantasy of a future world of 1,000 countries. 1,000 new zones have appeared in the last decade alone. Some are no bigger than a factory or a warehouse, a switch point in the logistical circuitry of the global market, or a site for storing, assembling, or refining a product to avoid tariffs. Others are urban megaprojects, such as New Songdo City, Songdo International Business District in South Korea, Neom in Saudi Arabia, or the city of Fujisawa in Japan, which run under their own rules like private city-states. In 2021, lawmakers in Nevada floated a similar idea, suggesting they might let corporations that relocate to their state write their own laws. The return of the company town a century later, made over as the Innovation Zone. In the United Kingdom, the Conservative government made the creation of a chain of duty-free zones or free ports the centerpiece of a proposal to level up the deindustrialized North after Brexit. Its quixotic goal? To compete with Dubai's Jebel Ali Free Zone, founded in 1985, where corporations enjoy half-century tax holidays and have access to foreign laborers housed in dormitories and paid a fraction of a British living wage. I use the metaphor of perforation to describe how capitalism works by punching holes in the territory of the nation-state, creating zones of exception with different laws and often no democratic oversight. The philosopher Grégoire Chamayou adds another metaphor, likening projects of privatization to the technique of the longhorn beetle, gnawing away at the structure of society from inside. We could reach for another metaphor and recall how a piece of lace is made by knotting threads together with gaps in between. What emerges gives the impression of a pattern by what is left out. The insider's term for this is voided patterning. To understand the world economy, we need to learn to see the voids. Most of the world's zones are in Asia, Latin America, and Africa. China alone has almost half of them. Europe and North America combine for